Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday and welcome to the Easy Like Sunday Morning podcast. I'm your host, Charles Watson, the founder of Expert Influencer Academy. I'd like to welcome you all to the podcast. It happens every Sunday on Facebook Live at first, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. And this week, we are tackling a topic that was recently in the news, and it's called Stop Buying Social Media Followers. You know, these days, social media is big business. And according to Entrepreneur Magazine, who just came out with an article on the 4th, by the year 2020, which is next year, the influencer marketing space is going to swell to a whopping $5 to $10 billion industry. The reason for this is that the reality is sinking in that old school traditional marketing centered around TV and radio just isn't as effective as it used to be. A lot more people are spending time on social media and YouTube. YouTube is quickly replacing traditional cable news networks, Hulu, Netflix, podcasts with Podbean, iHeartRadio, all this stuff and entertainment on the social media platforms and on the internet are fastly replacing traditional media. So brands are now focusing their efforts on places where their audiences are spending their most amount of time, which is, like I said, often online and on social media. As influencer marketing increases, a shady side of the business has begun to rear its ugly head. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, this has been happening for years, probably since the dawn of social media and branding and marketing. But it's only now and recently that the industry has become aware of the situation. And because there's so much money involved now, brands are really starting to fight back. And the trend now is influencer fraud. Influencer fraud is when influencers artificially inflate the numbers of their followers, likes, and engagements. These people usually use an automated service or a bot-backed service, and they usually pay anywhere between like $2 to $3 for up to 100 to 1,000 followers and engagement. It's easy. This service and this practice makes it super easy for someone to appear to be a popular online personality, and companies are starting to push back. Recently making news, and this was released this week, was the story of a UK-based fashion influencer who boasted of having over 230,000 followers on Instagram. This influencer ended up working with over 22 brands in 2018, and she was charging about $1,000 per post. After further review and after extensive investigation, it turns out that this fashionista's engagement and audience was 90% fake. And this actually costed the brands that she worked with a loss of $960 per post. So she will now be responsible for paying that money back and could see serious fraud charges. In fact, there are now companies that can successfully measure if your social media accounts are inflated or not, which means paying a little for a following now could really end up costing you big time in the future. If that's not reason enough to not inflate your social media numbers, I have four other reasons why buying or inflating your social media numbers is just a bad idea. Number one, numbers aren't everything. You know, these companies and these big brands, they are no longer focused on influencers that have a large number of followers on social media. Now they are measuring metrics that are more important in driving their decision to dole out the dollars. And these metrics are how many people engage with you and your brand on a regular basis, how many Twitter lists people have added you to, How many leads and sales is your social media driving? And how much traffic to your website are your social efforts driving to your website and making traffic and sales conversions? These are all taken into consideration now by major brands when working with influencers. Number 2 is low engagement and low ender rank score. So if you inflate your numbers, it leads to low engagement and a low ender rank score. Ender rank is the Facebook algorithm that decides which stories appear in the user's newsfeed. The algorithm hides boring stories and promotes popular ones. So if you have low engagement on your posts, this is the reason no one is seeing them and your reach is diminished. If you focus on building a real community around your brand and your business, by doing this, you will attract an audience that is truly interested in your topic. And the reward comes in the form of comments, shares, and likes and feedback. This is what actually big businesses are looking for when partnering with a social media influencer. Honestly, if your engagement is high, you can start landing brand deals and start working with companies that pay you for your posts and your insight with as little as 1,000 followers. The third reason why you should stop buying your social media engagement is loss of integrity and reputation. And while it's true that morality means different things to different people, it's pretty safe to assume that most of the people in businesses in the social media space see buying followers as an immoral practice. Activities such as going from like 30 followers to 30,000 followers in the space of a couple days is bound to get people and brands suspicious, which really ends up costing you a nice piece of the influencer marketing share. So beware of red flags and social, on crazy social activity. Matthew, good morning. Tia, good morning. So companies really look at that. They'll check on you when you enter into a brand deal with them, and then maybe a couple weeks later, they continue to check on you to just kind of see how your growth is. And like I said, if you go from 30 followers to 30,000 followers, that definitely sends up a lot of red flags. And finally, the fourth reason you should stop buying your social media engagement. I mean, all these are important, but this one is super important. Eventually, you're going to get found out. As mentioned earlier, companies and big name brands like Amazon, Disney, DreamWorks, NBC Universal, and other companies, even companies like Haagen-Dazs, they're working with companies that have recently developed AI-powered tools that can now show who paid to boost their engagement. Like I said earlier, with the influencer marketing space swelling to $5 to $10 billion in the next year, you better believe that these brands are now being more protective with their investments. Sites like Fake Followers Check and a new algorithm developed by a company called Social Chain are making sure that influencer fraud is brought to justice. And guys, this is going to lead to serious financial and legal ramifications for those influencers that fake their numbers. Like, it's no longer a finger pointing game or a suspicious game. They have the tools to really figure out and truthfully figure out if your audience and your engagement is unique and genuine, and they are fighting back. Remember the UK influencer, she cost those companies $960 per post. There were 22 brands that worked with her in the year 2018. So she is seriously facing legal ramifications and financial ramifications. These companies are not going to let you keep the money. They're going to make you pay it back, and they're going to prosecute you for fraud. So super important these days going forward. Stay on the right track, stay on the up and up, and do not purchase your engagement, but work on your content. Work on building a community around your business or brand. Ask your customers, your followers, your audience base, your target market, what it is they want to see from you. What kind of content do they want you to create? This will keep you on the right track and this will keep you growing steadily over time. You know, in closing, well apart from the practice of buying followers and engagement not being a morally acceptable practice, like I said, it can also lead to the suspension, the closing, or even the deletion of your social media accounts. The number of followers you have isn't that important. Don't play a numbers game. Play the community building game. In the long run, guys, for real, you're going to set yourself up for success, and you're going to have a real sense of pride for an incredible accomplishment of building something true and genuine that will allow sustained growth over a period of time. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. We hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you know someone that needs to hear this message, please feel free to share it with someone you think could benefit from the information. If you like this, we've got a lot more on our website, expertinfluenceracademy.com. Head on over there. We have our blog. We have our archive for our Easy Like Sunday Morning podcast. You can check us out on YouTube. And I am proud to announce that we are now on Podbean. I just started a news feed called Expert Influencer Network News, where every week I will be doing an audio series covering the latest news, strategies, tips, and tricks in the influencer market space. I've been trying to find something like this for about 9 to 10 months, and I realized that it doesn't exist. So I wanted to start something where we could bring you guys real news, just like this UK chick that got in trouble for inflating her numbers. Now she's going to jail and she's going to be broke. All right, so I want to bring you guys news and tips like that. So check us out on Podbean. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. We're going to go take our puppy to puppy class, and then we're going to go spend a beautiful day with family. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.